Welcome back to Backward Point Podcast. My name is Nazar Sayed. With me, as always, is my brother and co-host Bashar. Today, we have no cold open for you guys, no intro. After that bombastic, rocky intro, people are still recovering from that quote. And I just thought that we could just go cold into the podcast as opposed to having a cold open. This is going to be a Q&A podcast. We've been accumulating questions from all over social media, primarily our Patreon. That's the number one source of our questions. We answer all of them. Number 2 is Discord. We answer most of them. 3, 4 is Instagram and Twitter, and we answer some of them. And if you guys want to have your questions posted in our monthly Q&As, then definitely Patreon is the way to go. Join us, support us, keep the lights on. If you guys are watching this, you can see how bright it is behind Bashar Sayed, and you know what that is? Some would say that's solar power, but no. It's Patreon power right there.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Why are you wearing the same color shirt as me?
I have actually not changed shirts in 3 days. This is what happens when your wife and child are in Pakistan and you are completely alone with no accountability and nowhere to go. So
I think I can hold you accountable. You should shower. You should change your shirt.
You know what? So next podcast, I will have a change of wardrobe. But as it stands right now, it's tuning time on Backward Point.
Awesome. Just a disclaimer before we get started. A lot of the questions we got from Patreon, Discord, Instagram, most of them got repetitive. Saim Ayub, Azam Khan, Shadab Khan, Muhammad Haris. Like there were a lot of repetitive questions. So I obviously cannot take all the questions that are regarding the same topic. So wherever I saw them first, I've included them here in the list of questions that we have, and we'll just start
Just
off.
know that you have been represented by one person or the other if your name doesn't come up.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
if you really want to hear your name, patreon.com/backwardpoint.
Let's start off with the Patreon questions. The first question is from Ali Bhai. And Ali Bhai starts it off with a hard-hitting question. He says, Azam Khan is being shoehorned into a place of a wicketkeeper, which Rizwan has made his own. So why waste a space that could be utilized for a bowler or a specialist batsman who may be fit and agile in the outfield? And there's also like a sub-question with that question which says, there is no other team in the world that would seriously even consider someone as unfit and underwhelming as Azam Khan, but Pakistan is. What does that say about our team? So firstly, I guess why Azam was playing, because Rizwan is foregoing his wicket-keeping skills. And secondly, why is Pakistan even picking Azam to begin with?
Man, Ali Bhai with the banger question right off the top. And I love the way that you situated this. This could have been 3 or 4, but you want to lead with this. So, kudos to Bashar for making it troublesome right from the beginning. Okay, so the first part of the question 1A. Why should we be accommodating Azam if Azam is not accommodating for the Pakistan cricket team? Now, the reason why Azam was even selected in the first place was because of his repertoire in international leagues. The host country, it's co-hosted by the USA, but the host country itself is West Indies. He just won a CPL in 2023. He, in the middle order, there's no one in Pakistan right now in the position that Azam Khan plays at 5'6" that has hit more sixes than him. And that's just the fact. I Googled it before I could pull it up.
Or even who has the same sort of spin hitting ability.
Yes.
Like there's nobody in Pakistan who has the ability to come in the 9th over, 10th over and just change the whole course of the match. And the question Ali Bhai asked in the second part is, what does this say about the Pakistan team by picking Azam Khan? It says that we don't really have any backups for Azam. Everybody who's asking us, why are you guys supporting Azam, or why is Pakistan picking Azam? My rhetorical question to them is, who do we pick instead? And to that, nobody really has a response.
Yeah, that's the dilemma that everybody's in. When Azam Khan was picked, he was picked off a series of performances, including the PSL that just went back. And it looked like it was a solid pick. Honestly, it looked like a bold pick, something that's very unlike Babar Azam and selection committee because of this stuff that Ali Bhai just mentioned. His fitness, his maybe not the best use of the gloves behind the wickets, but you pick him because of the sheer power and this ability to launch the ball into orbit. You pick him because of that. Now, over the past few weeks, we've seen that maybe that form isn't clicking for Azam as well. Maybe There's words being thrown like overhyped, underwhelming, like Ali Bhai used it here right now. And I don't know if quote unquote time will tell because maybe it already has and we're just refusing to read the messaging. But this is the person we've selected. He's in the 15 squad. At this point, there's nothing to do but back him up, hope that he performs to the best of the abilities that the selectors have seen in him, that we have seen in him, that people have witnessed in the CPL, in the PSL, in the National T20 League, and just hope that Azam Khan, wherever he is underneath, comes out and performs.
Mazhar Arshad says something very interesting. He says that whenever you pick Azam Khan on the team and then he flops and then you drop him, things such as his fitness, his keeping start to come up. But that's sort of a given when you pick him to begin with. Like, that he's not the fittest guy. He's not a Ronaldo looking guy. His fitness is in front of everybody. So you pick him because of his batting abilities, but then you drop him because of things that are aside from his performances. So either don't pick him to begin with, or if you pick him, back him to the fullest. And I think the team management right now is in a position where they are backing him. And I understand that Azam may not be the best wicketkeeper. That is hands down Mohammad Rizwan. But I think the fans, the management felt that Azam's match-winning ability with the bat could compensate for him being an ordinary keeper.
One last thing I want to say about Azam Khan, I'm pretty sure we're going to mention him quite a few more times throughout this Q&A episode, but we got a notification a couple of days ago on Backward Point which said that Azam Khan has withdrawn his collaboration, which means that he was on his social media Instagram account was linked with us on a collaborative post, and he had withdrawn that. Now, the first thing Bashar says, we were driving somewhere, and Bashar's like, yo, he heard the pod, he's pissed off. I'm like, we didn't even say anything like we said, we criticized him, but we weren't being mean or anything because we understand the repercussions of just being just a meanie pants. But that's not what Backward Point is. We will be respectful even in our criticism. So it didn't make sense to me. And then I went and checked his social media, wiped off. Completely gone.
He's gone ghost.
He's gone ghost. And the only 4 reels that are left, or 4 posts that are left on his reel section are of him training, of him working out, and that's it. So I don't know if that's a message to the fans. I don't know if that's a message to himself. There, some sort of ominous thing is going on with him. I think it's just the pressure of the social media bullying that we've mentioned before, that even Ebba Qureshi has come out and said, I heard Pro Sports talk about it again on their podcast. A lot of people are talking about how it's just, there's no cause for it. And the opposite thing where the counter argument is, hey, he's in the spotlight, he should know better. Well, so are you, and you should know better before saying shit like that. And it's just extremely disgusting and ugly. And this man has the potential of going on and maybe winning stuff for Pakistan in the future, near future. And the way that you push him down, the way that you pull him down, what spirit may he have left, if any, to go on and carry forward? So just urging everybody to be careful with what they say on social media. It is a public platform. That does not mean you have to go out there and completely, show what you're worth. So that was just my 2 cents on that.
I appreciate that. The next question is from Yusuf. Yusuf says, what justifies Abbas Afridi's selection over Wasim Jr.? And so you're the founder and chairman of the Wasim Jr. fan club. So I'm going to let you respond to that.
I think Wasim Jr., from what I've heard, is there's a rumor of some injury, some niggle and some hamstrings. I've heard this from a few people. Some people are even saying that maybe Abrar is already injured in the team. That's why he doesn't play, hasn't gotten any games. I genuinely think it's someone in the Pakistani camp was like, you know what would be great? Abrar was a mystery package, and there's a mystery throughout. With the Wasim Jr. thing, if it's not the injury, then honestly, Abbas Afridi is maybe a bit better with the newer ball, maybe conceded a little less runs, just had a pretty brilliant GT20 as well. I think he was the highest wicket taker in that last year. I mean, that's about it. I mean, Wasim Jr., after the World Cup that he just had, I think he would have been done well in this white ball team.
What's shocking for me is that, so you invest into Wasim Jr. in 2022 T20 World Cup. He plays that. He also plays the 2023 ODI World Cup. So you've sort of given him exposure of global events. And now that it's sort of the stage where you reap the rewards of you investing into him, you've dropped him. So that just does not sit right with me. I like continuity with respect to selection and giving players opportunities. So I feel like Abbas Afridi, no disrespect to him, he's a good bowler. He has good variations, back of the hand, slower ball, decent Yorkers. But I would have still been consistent with picking Wasim Jr. or even I would have picked Zaman Khan ahead of Abbas Afridi. That's sort of who I am.
I would have dropped everybody and picked Osama Amir, if I'm being honest. Thanks. I would have picked Osama Amir over everybody right now because of the way that these pitches have been behaving. Like you look at the game against South Africa and Sri Lanka, you're like, what is going on here? The game against Namibia and I forget who they were playing, but even that game was a low scoring
Oman.
thriller. Oman, a low scoring thriller. Masaba, my guy, and like just one of those things where another spinner would have done well over these pacers. You already have 4 world class pacers, I would say, and we could move straight into the question that Yusuf and Ali Khan had, which was where does Naseem Shah fit with Amir being back? And part B is, do you guys think we will play 4 pacers? If not, who do we drop? So I'll ask the second question first. Answer the second question first, which is I don't think they're going to play 4 pacers. I don't think the wicket, unless the wicket is the one that we saw in the USA Canada game, which was zipping, it was a bit bouncy. Even then, I wouldn't play 4 pacers, to be honest. Like, the grounds are fast outfield, especially in the West Indies. New York, maybe, because maybe you have Ifti, Saim, and Imad Wasim in the team. Sorry, Ifti, Saim, and Shadab in the team where they can sort of get the pace. You can drop the pace and get the spinners going. But apart from that, I don't think you play 4 pacers in this team. But I don't. Bashar, do you have the same opinions? Or?
No, actually, I disagree.
Okay.
I saw the couple of matches that happened in New York. So the first one was the warm-up game between India and Bangladesh. And I saw the new ball zip around. I saw some seam movement off the pitch. I saw some swing in the air.
Does that warrant 4 pacers, though?
I think, and I just saw the match yesterday, right? Sri Lanka versus South Africa. And bowlers like Shanika and Matthews were getting some movement off the pitch. So I think
Rana with that 95 mile, that's crazy.
I would play 4 seamers and I would just ask them to first bell, look for swing up front. If there's no swing, go for cutters, go for slower ones, go for variations. Because the ball was holding up in the pitch and it just becomes very hard to time.
Yeah, but in that instance, wouldn't you want an Imad Wasim who can slow it up, give it a loop, give it some air, and have that faster one that drifts with the arm inside the?
I would have Imad also, but I would still play 4 pacers, Imad, and
would you play 4 pacers against India in New York?
Likely, I would likely play 4 pacers. I mean, I don't know exactly which strip this match is happening. There's a few more matches to go in New York. And I think that will give us some more understanding of what the pitch is going to behave on Sunday. But there's a few more matches to go before that. So I'll be watching those games very closely to see how they play out.
Let's say if you have 3, you have to pick 3. So I guess Shaheen and Haris Rover are locked for both of us. Between Amir and Naseem Shah, where do you go?
I think just based off of current form, I would go with Mohammad Amir over Naseem Shah.
Yeah.
Naseem Shah was great in the PSL for Islamabad United. But ever since he came back to the international circuit in the Greens, he's been quite expensive. He's been giving lots of runs away. And he doesn't seem like the same Naseem Shah that was bowling at the PSL.
Why is that? Is it bad line and length, bad areas, or is he just getting whipped? The bad batsmen are getting the better of him?
I feel like international cricket is a lot more cutthroat and batsmen come very hard at you. And I feel like after Naseem's been hit for boundaries, he's just not been able to get back to his normal bowling. Mohammad Amir, on the other hand, we brought him back out of retirement. I don't think we brought him back to put him on the bench. He's bowled. He's a big match player. He's won 2 ICC trophies. So we know he can bowl really well under pressure. So I would probably bank on Mohammad Amir ahead of Naseem Shah.
I'd play Amir in the India game just to freak them out a little bit. Honestly, that would be a ballsy move. Moving on, we got a question from Ultra from the Patreon. If Pakistan had a genuine fast bowling all-rounder, then would Pakistan solve that number 7, 8 position in the 11? I think yes.
Absolutely.
I'm looking at Amir Jamal right now.
For sure, 100%. I think after that series that he had against Australia, yes, Pakistan did give him a couple of matches in New Zealand. But I think there needs to be a lot more investment done into Amir Jamal. I know he does not have the stats right now to back his position in the Pakistan team. But I think there's some players that you need to back up, especially when you don't have a replacement of a fast bowling all-rounder within the current squad. Like Wasim Jr., they say is an all-rounder, but I haven't seen him score runs at the international level.
I think about this one scenario a lot. The one argument for backing Saim and Azam is like, you just got to back these guys. These guys are the future. They're going to do great. One's a prolific ball hitter. One's just the next up and coming talent that's going to push Pakistan to the modern age of cricket. And then same thing with Amir Jamal. If the sample size just keeps getting worse for these guys, does that mean, do we still back them up? Or does that mean that maybe the proof is in the pudding? We should sort of take the lever off of these guys a little bit and move towards somebody else. That's the question that I just had.
Yeah, I think
That's a good
it,
question.
it might warrant for them going back into the domestic circuit, score some runs, get some more experience. Like Saim is just 21, is he? Azam is 25. So they're still relatively inexperienced at this level. Like they have played league cricket, but league cricket pressure versus international pressure is very different. So I think even if Saim Ayub fails at this level, like let's say he has a horrendous World Cup, he can still have the opportunity, go back in domestic, score runs, improve his game, work on his weaknesses, play the look shot instead of the no look shot, and be back at this level.
That's extremely disrespectful. But moving on, Zain Ali asks from the Patreon, the way Babar then Shaheen were removed for captaincy was unfair to everyone. But do you think that Babar's captaincy has improved at all since his last ICC tournament? I can't remember the last time anybody won an ICC tournament without a really tactically strong captain. If he's not improving, why can't we move on while still acknowledging he's our best player? Zain with the questions, bro. It's a solid question.
Deep question. I feel like what's happening right now with respect to captaincy is just what's been done by Shaheen back in December. Like when he came as captain, he brought back Azam Khan. He went to Dubai, spoke to Mohammad Amir at the T20, brought Amir out of retirement. He spoke to Imad after the PSL, got him out of retirement. He changed the opening pair from Babar Rizwan to Saim and Rizwan, and Babar going one down. And I feel like a lot of what Shaheen did has been in continuation with Babar's captaincy. Now, tactically, I feel like Babar has improved. Like I'm seeing better entry points for players. I'm seeing batting positions being more flexible. There's more leeway for experimentation.
Harris not bowling in the power play.
Exactly. The last
Finally.
T20I. And Pakistan also just testing their bench strength in the past series against New Zealand and then also Ireland. It's not Babar's fault that a few of the games got rained out, but I love the idea that he realized that Pakistan did not have a bench strength in the past few years, and now he's in that position where he wants to build that strength so we can have backups for players who get injured or who are out of form.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. There has definitely been an improvement in Bauer, but like I said many times on the podcast before, it's a running joke. I don't think we've really seen Bauer 2.0. I think we've seen Bauer 1.5, which is that just saying that there's more room for improvement there. I think he can definitely learn a few more things just from his predecessors. And it's not the first time that Bauer's inherited another person's cricket team. So I hope that, he does wonders with that. Okay, so the next question is from Ammar Ramnani, again from the Patreon. I am all in for Saim, but we are too far in to give him more chances. Should we try opening with Fakhar and playing Shadab at 4? I mean, we can just give it a shot. This is especially considering that Fakhar's runs have come within the power play. I think that's what he meant to say. This is power play, and he seems very suited for that phase. And then his second question, we'll answer the first one first. Bashar?
So he says, should we try opening with Fakhar and have Shadab at 4? I think he's not too sure with giving Saim Ayub more chances. Yeah, it's a tough one because even when Pakistan did bench Saim in the 4th game, they had Rizwan-Babar back up, Usman Khan one down, and Fakhar coming in at 4. I do agree with Ammar that the 2 knocks that Fakhar played in the recent past came in when he came into bat in the power play. So maybe Fakhar is a bit more suited within the power play. My response to that is perhaps we still persist with Saim and Rizwan, but just have the rest of the batting order flexible. So our thought process that we agree upon is in the power play, if Saim gets out, you send in Fakhar. So Fakhar can continue playing attacking cricket from one end, and Rizwan can sort of play the anchor role. And if Rizwan gets out in the power play, you send in Babar Azam. So Babar can still hold one end. Because I think the problem with Rizwan and Babar opening is if both get out in the power play, our middle order does not have the capability of playing out all 20 overs, let alone putting up a par score or above par score. So that's sort of why I am like, whatever happens, I'm still not in favor of Rizwan and Babar opening the innings.
Yeah, I agree. And the second part of his question is, what are your reserves? I keep hearing that the players playing in county will be treated as reserves, like Osama Amir, Shan Masood. How utterly stupid is that? If Babar Azam can travel as the senior manager, why can't we have fixed reserves in the team? And if they do announce the reserves, who should be in it?
So the problem with the reserves in the first place is like we had reserves in the last ODI World Cup and the last T20 World Cup was because the ODI World Cup was in India. And it's hard to sort of fly players out to India with all the security and the visa issues. So we sent reserves there. The World Cup before that was in Australia. So it's hard to send somebody on a short notice from Pakistan all the way to Australia if somebody gets injured. I guess the thought process, if there's any behind not having reserves this World Cup, is if somebody gets injured, we can just fly somebody out to the West Indies or the USA on a quick flight. Hypothetically, if there were reserves, firstly, I would have Mohammad Haris in there. Secondly, I would have Osama Amir in there. And if there was a third person for reserves, I would probably have a middle order batsman. So if you're asking me, I would have had Salman Ali Agha and I would have given him some games against New Zealand, maybe even Ireland, and I would then have him as a reserve for the World Cup. But just to put it out there, reserves can only play when somebody in your 15 gets injured. You can't fake an injury. It has to be an authentic injury.
The ICC reviews this stuff. Like people are like, oh, just make Azam like sprain his ankle or something. It's firstly that's ludicrous. I don't want to win like that. Like I'd rather lose with an unfit Azam than win with this way because that's borderline gray area. It's borderline cheating. That's not the way that I want to win anything. Firstly, secondly, it's just not. It's not that simple. The ICC comes, reviews everything, send their doctors in, so you can't just be like screaming while the doctor is touching your knee, like, "Oh, it hurts too much." There's X-rays, there's CT scans, there's a lot being done. So, yeah, that's same take for me. I think Osama Mir, Mohammad Haris, and Agha Salman Ali Agha. Friggin' hell, it should be the reserves if there ever was one. All right, so Ali Khan has the last question from the Patreon chat, and then we'll move over to Discord. Does Babar's inability to play spin bowling doom him against India and most of the spin-heavy countries? How do you guys feel he should navigate this issue? Inability to play spin is kind of harsh, Ali.
So Babar struggles against leg spin in particular, and leg spinners who have googlies have struggled Babar, whether it be Ish Sodhi, Rashid Khan has gotten him out multiple times in international cricket, also in the PSL. Recently, Adil Rashid has struggled. Babar has struggled against Adil Rashid. He's a bit more comfortable against right arm off spin or even left arm spin. He doesn't struggle as much compared to leg spin. But I think the one bowler that might really give Babar a run for his money is Kuldeep Yadav.
Mm-hmm.
We all know he's gotten Babar out a couple of times. 2018 Asia Cup, 2019 ODI World Cup. Some brute of deliveries that have gotten Babar out. And also they have Yuzi Chahal, so a leg spinner, which might, Babar might struggle against him.
I think what Babar should do is what India did for Shaheen was just go attack him. Like just go aggressively and don't sort of let the bowler come at you. With T20, you don't have enough margins to sort of settle yourself into a bowler. You'll have an Adil Rashid who'll bowl 4 for 15 with like 12 dot balls and 2 wickets, and then suddenly that changes the whole dynamic of the game. You have to come in, you have to attack. Don't let the bowler settle in, because as soon as they settle in, it's over for you. And that's what Pakistan did wrong against Chahal. And that I feel like if Babar has one antidote to this, it would be just to go attacking.
I think he should just play his own shots. Like he loves playing the inside out scoop over covers against left arm spinners and leg spinners. So I think come Yuzi Chahal June 9th, Babar should continue playing his shots. And if he gets bogged down, he's going to give his wicket away anyway. So might as well go out attacking.
I agree. Moving over to Discord questions, we got the number one from Gilsab. Gilsab says, T20 is known as the great equalizer. Which associate nations do you think have the highest chance of sneaking into the Super 8s?
I feel like Afghanistan is going to be the dark horse of this World Cup.
They're not associates. They're a test playing team.
I mean, they're still like not top 10 teams, right?
Technically, they played the World Cup. They were over in West Indies.
Sure. Okay.
I wouldn't put us. I wouldn't put Afghanistan.
You wouldn't put Afghanistan as associates?
No, never. It's a test playing nation, bro. No way.
Okay.
If that's the case, then I put Bangladesh in that too. Like, if that's the standards. Like, honestly, no. What I think the team to look for is Namibia. Namibia has some really good players. Netherlands has some really good players as well that could move the needle a little bit. I wanted my heart says Canada, but we saw the USA Canada game, and it's going to be tough for them to get a W moving forward. USA is actually not that bad. If they can beat one of the top two teams, India or Pakistan, suddenly they're in a position where they can move forward and make it. So I would say Namibia, Netherlands, and USA.
I would say Ireland. Not a lot of
Again, test playing nation.
people are talking about Ireland.
They play test, bro. What is this guy on?
Bro, ultimately they're an associate nation. I mean, yes, they play test, but they're not a major cricketing nation. Like, they don't play the ODI World Cups. And they had to qualify for this World Cup.
Yeah, so did West Indies. West Indies didn't play the ODI World Cup last year.
But West Indies qualified in this World Cup because they were hosts. So they automatically qualified.
Yeah. But like, all I'm saying is you got to give these youngins a little bit more slack. Yo, Ireland beat Pakistan comprehensively at home. So you got to give them a little bit more than just like calling them associates. Put some respect on that name.
Next question from Chronic. He says, do you think Shadab Khan should play some matches in the World Cup?
Yes.
I think Pakistan has invested too much in Shadab Khan at this point, and he plays an integral role in this Pakistan T20 squad. I feel like...
Okay, here's another question. I would just sort of add to the Chronic question. Do you think this is Shadab Khan's last T20 World Cup?
I really feel like if Shadab doesn't perform in this World Cup, they might go with Amir in the next matches, because Pakistan has backed Shadab at this point for the past year and a half, and he hasn't been giving performances like the Shadab Khan that we used to know give. Performances with the bat, with the ball, electric in the field. Well, his fielding is still pretty good, but I think his main job is to take wickets at the middle over, be economical, and he's just not been doing that.
Look, if Shadab gives you 4 overs, 2 for 30, and bats gives you 30 runs at like 18 or 20 balls, that's a good Shadab inning. But we haven't seen either or from either side. We haven't seen the damage from the bowling side or the damage from the batting side. And I think you're right. PCB's patience is kind of running out with Shadab. This might be his last chance to genuinely prove to himself as the player, the guy in the T20I squad. And I think you give him matches for sure. I just hope that he can walk Pakistan over the line. Ahmed Umair says, due to his recent good performances in Ireland, does Rizwan now fit your guys' T20 playing 11?
I think this is a question for you, because Rizwan was always in my 11.
Okay.
There was a podcast where this man here said that Rizwan doesn't fit his 11.
And my reasoning for that was the style of play. That's been my case since the start. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? My reasoning has always been his style of play. I don't think so. In that moment, firstly, Azam wasn't flopping like he is. Because Azam is like peak Azam. Like, he's that CPL, PSL Azam. So then automatically you take that opener spot on. You give somebody else a shot. Maybe you bring Fakhar higher.
Mohammad Haris.
I said Mohammad Haris instead of Mohammad Rizwan. And honestly, I'm thinking about this still. And, justice to Mohammad Haris for sure. But, okay, maybe I also said that this might be the last time we see Mohammad Rizwan playing in a T20 World Cup, because the style of play that he has is sort of retiring, and people are getting into the modern age of cricket, which is this, like, the way that West Indies plays, which is like 8 hitters, 6 are out, right? And that's sort of where Pakistan is sort of edging itself into as well. We need like players like Imran Nazir, Shadab Afridi, Saim Ayub. We need to fill the slots with that, but that's a whole different argument. Mohammad Rizwan has proved himself in the past 7 to 8 T20Is. His strike rate is over 135. He's hitting the ball cleanly. If he does get out, he gets out cheaply in the power play. Doesn't eat up a lot of balls, and that's what I'm more interested in with Mohammad Rizwan. So yeah, he plays my 11, but only because of that, because of the instability that the middle order once again finds himself in. You need to go safe. And in a perfect world, I wouldn't go safe. I would go all ballistic. But this is not a perfect world. This is the resource that we have. And Rizwan begrudgingly fits my playing 11. Yeah.
I'm liking the recent Rizwan that we're seeing on display. He's playing attacking cricket. He's taking chances and not playing safe as Rizwan and Babar both used to in the past, I would say 2 to 3 years of Pakistan's T20 team. So as long as Rizwan keeps playing the same level of attacking cricket, continues taking risks, I like this Rizwan in the Pakistan team. And also just him, if he's behind the gloves, he's a very safe option there.
I agree. Yeah, Rizwan the keeper, I have no doubts for. Rizwan the batter, I just still a few asterisks that I would like to see filled. And you know what? World Cup is a great time to prove me wrong. So Rizwan, I hope you do extremely well. Trust me, I do. Um, from We Blue. So this is the name of the guy on or girl on Discord. The handle is We Blew a 16-4 advantage. And thank you for reminding me that. What do you think of Fakhar Rizwan opening with Saim coming in at 4? Nah, that's too late for Saim.
I agree. I think Saim needs a power play. So Saim being at the top, like I know he's not flop, like he's not performing well, but I think Saim still needs fielders to be inside the circle for him to play his shots that are aerial, that are over the top of the infielders. Just Saim needs to work on not getting out at deep square leg. Everybody knows if you ball him a short one, he's gonna try to play the no-look shot. He's gonna mistime it, and it'll go to the deep square leg fielder.
Maybe okay. This is what I say to Saim. If they're baiting you to do that, Saim, if they're baiting you to hit over mid wicket or over fine leg for 6, just roll your wrists and take that for a single. At least get to the other side a little bit. You know, like he doesn't have to come in and start hitting the first ball for 6, second ball for 6, third ball for 6. I'd rather he take a couple of overs and then third, fourth over, start building his innings from there. Because the first time you're coming in, you're trying to feel the ball in the bat. You're trying to get that confidence running, that adrenaline pushing yourself. And then you see, you could hit the boundaries that you want. Just roll your wrists, take a few singles, get on the other side. I'm a big advocate of singles. Like this is something that me and Bashar argue about all the time. Even in our league matches, like you're like, yo, I'm gonna reinvent my game now, and I'm no longer like I'm gonna take 10 off 10. I'm gonna hit like 15 off 8. And what did you do last game? This guy played 15 balls and hit 8 runs. He did the opposite. And I told him like the other thing you could have done is like take 15 off 15, and suddenly the team has almost like 7, 8 more runs. That changes the whole dynamic of the game. Singles are important. Always. Namibia found themselves in a big hole because if they were not taking singles, they were trying to hit 2 boundaries in an over, but not taking 6 singles. Singles are key, especially if you're out of form. Get to the other side, and then find your way out of that.
Hey,
Anyways.
if you take singles, you become single. Muhammad Rizwan said, if you talk about average, you become average.
My guy.
That's why I'm looking for doubles, guys.
That was great. Some lonesome comedy for you guys. Mahad asks a very good question. Mahad54 asks a really good question. If the Rizbar partnership comes back in the World Cup and both Babar and Azam play with higher strike rates, would you prefer that more than any other opening pair, or would you still prefer a different opening pair?
I would still prefer Babar Azam to be one down.
Same.
Just so he can be that glue in Pakistan's middle order. If shit hits the fan and Pakistan has a collapse, at least Babar can still come in, consolidate, hold one end together, and make sure the innings goes all the way to the 20th over. And Babar is a very smart batsman, so I expect him to also get the other batsman to keep scoring runs. So again, whatever happens, like don't go back to Babar Rizwan. Try different combinations.
They already did though.
So the problem with Babar Rizwan opening is that so they sort of open, they play the first 10, 15 overs, and then Pakistan's whole middle order is just go in and hit out. Right? In the past, we've had like Asif Ali, go in, hit out. Haider Ali, go in, hit out. Azam Khan, go in, hit out. Iftikhar Ahmed, repeat. Right? So by doing this, you're not developing any proper middle order batsmen.
So what they should do instead is maybe like after the 6th over when the power play is done, maybe have 50 on the board, 55 on the board, whatever it is. Try to keep that acceleration going. And if that sacrifices a wicket for Rizbar, then so be it. At least you'll get the clean hitters of the ball coming in near the middle end of the innings and consolidating over the start that you've given, as opposed to just trying to build on that start. Because I've seen like the power play, they'll be at 55. And then that average is around 9.5, almost 10, and then slowly dwindles down to like 7, 8. up until the 15th, where they try to go back again and try to hit 15 and over. And that's just tough. You're setting yourself for failure. So yeah, I'm with Bashar. I would change the pair still, and I'll give an attacking batsman the opportunity to take advantage of the power play. All right. The last question from the Discord server, it's from a Bill Boy. He says, imagine Shaheen stayed as captain up until now and for the upcoming T20 World Cup. What would be different about the team, and what would maybe be different about the squad if this can be speculated? Very good question.
I'm not sure a lot would be different. Like maybe one or two names would be in the team. Like I think Shaheen would have probably given a chance to Azam Khan. I know he trusts him at the death with death bowling. Aside from that, I think it would have been probably the same team. The change you would have seen actually would have been with respect to tactics. I think Shaheen, because he's a fast bowler, we would have seen a bit more bold decisions, some more aggressive captaincy.
Maybe we would see the whole Fakhar and Babar thing we're talking about, where if Saim gets out, you send in Fakhar, and if Rizwan gets out, you send in Babar, because we have seen Shaheen float the order as it comes to situations before. Most famously in the PSL final, he brought himself up to 4 and 5. Was it 4? 4 or 5? He brought himself up the order.
He batted ahead of David Wiese.
Yeah, and he scored a 50. Right, that was a gamble he took, and it paid off. That's something that you could probably expect from Shaheen more than the selections and whatnot.
But I also feel like Shaheen would have taken a few more series to really get adapted with captaincy at the Pakistan level. Because I remember in the New Zealand series when Pakistan toured there, he did make some mistakes. Like for example, the one that comes into mind is it was middle overs going on and spinners were bowling, and he sends in Iftikhar ahead of Azam Khan, which to me is criminal. Because we've said this before, Iftikhar Ahmed against spinners is like a deer in front of headlights. So not sending Azam ahead of Iftikhar was a bad decision because Iftikhar just hogged up a few balls, hit out, got out, and then Azam went in. The required rate was already like 11, 12. So he couldn't really do much at that point.
Yeah, I agree. So again, tactically, he will improve. He's still very young, and we haven't seen a fast bowling captain in a very long time in the circles of Pakistan. So I would say, yeah, bring him back. After this World Cup, I think it would be extremely unfair for anybody for Babar to be still captaining the 2026 T20 World Cup, and I think everybody's eyeing for Shaheen to come back if he wants it. He vehemently rejected the vice captain tag in this squad in this World Cup, and like everybody's so surprised, like, what happened there? What do you think is gonna happen? Like if you unjustly remove a young, fast bowling, aggressive captain, you think he's gonna take it like that? Like that's what I would do. What would have done, honestly.
You would have posted that story?
Yeah.
Don't ever, for any reason.
Oh no, I would have deleted my Instagram account for that. Like that was just bad. But I totally see the whole vice captain thing not happening, and PCB's to blame for that. Switching platforms now. Thank you everybody from the Discord fam. I know we couldn't take everybody's question, but there's tons of them, like dozens and dozens of questions.
Lots of them were repetitive.
And then same thing with Instagram. Instagram is probably the platform where we have a lot more, probably the most engagement, and the questions kept pouring in. I can probably still pull up the story, and there's still going to be more questions. So again, apologies if we didn't take your question. If you want your question to be guaranteed onto the pod, patreon.com/backwardpoint. Anyways, Instagram. All right, let's do this. Shaheem asks, do you think Pakistan has a lack of player with the Mamba mentality in them?
Can you explain what the Mamba mentality is?
Let me read the question again. Do you think Pakistan has a lack of Mamba mentality? I think that's what he meant. Like, players with
not
the lack
having.
of Mamba. So Mamba mentality, for people who are not basketball fans, is Kobe's mantra. Kobe Bryant, number 24 from Philadelphia, played in the LA Lakers. Rest in peace to Kobe. One of my favorite players as well. His Mamba mentality was just basically an ethos of what Michael Jordan taught, which was take everything personally and outwork your opponent. Outwork them. If somebody puts in 500 shots a day, you put in 700 shots a day. If somebody practices defense 2 hours a day, you practice 3 hours a day. Outwork your opponent. That's the Mamba mentality. Take everything personally. Make sure that you're showing up to the pitch, to the court, whatever sport you're playing, 110%, not just 100%. And the question is, do you think any of the players in Pakistan have them / lack them? And honestly, the only player that I see who genuinely has Mamba mentality in cricket right now is Virat Kohli. There's no other way to put it. He has embodied the ethos of all the greats of all the great sports of Roger Federer, Ronaldo, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. You just name them. He has that killer instinct. He has that dog in him, as we say, and he wants to win regardless. The best example that I have is the T20 World Cup in Australia, the Pakistan game. Nobody else takes it away from Pakistan. In that moment, with 48 left, or off 18 or 43 off 18, like, it was just crazy. And so the only player in the world right now who actually embodies that in any team is Virat Kohli. Pakistan, I don't even know.
I feel like our players can't be at that Mamba mentality mode when they're always in survival mode. Like Pakistani players, if you're a domestic player, your whole life goal is to make it to the PSL, make it to the Pakistan team. And then once they make it to that stage, they're like, okay, what do we do next? Like, my whole life goal was to make it to the Pakistan team. And then it's also like they have short-term goals. Like, let me get to the PSL, the Pakistan team, play a few matches, then get a CPL contract, get a BPL contract, get the Blast contract. So, and a lot of the problems are deep-rooted because they come from humble backgrounds. They're supporting multiple families. So they're looking for instant gratification, that dopamine hit that they get, instead of long-lasting legacy.
And we also see that, by the way, in the NBA. In this, Shaheen probably is a basketball fan. Just check out all the players who come from the hood. Their main purpose is to keep the money coming in so they can support their families, support their friends and their cousins, and make sure everybody's doing well. And those are the players that usually don't succeed. If you have the mentality to make sure that it's not all about the capital that's coming in, but it's about the gold that's in your cabinet, then you will work maybe 3 times as hard to make sure that because one is a byproduct of the other. If you're great, money will follow you. But if you're following money, greatness will not follow you. It's just not how it works. So that's just my 2 cents.
What's that quote from Three Idiots? Chase excellence.
Yeah, chase excellence. That's a good one. Tala Khan asks, one player you would have loved to see in this Pakistan squad. Mohammad Haris, probably.
I would have loved to see a middle order batsman. Like, I'll go back to saying, like, if we still don't have much players out there in the Pakistan circuit who can be good middle order batsmen. The one player we saw recently in the PSL was Salman Agha. So maybe if we saw more of him in the New Zealand series where he was picked, or against Ireland or even England, we could have sort of tested him in the waters of international cricket. So it's going to be a big question of if, then, but. But yeah, Mohammad Haris likely.
Yeah, but again, that doesn't solve the issues, but because you already have four openers in the team. So Mohammad Haris is probably a bad answer, but that's the first name that came to my mind. Carl Salim, 56, and I don't know what to name this, 69420. I will read all the numbers. You bet I will. Should Abrar replace Shadab?
I feel like given the last game that Shadab played, he bowled decent. And I think Pakistan should at least give Shadab a couple of matches in this World Cup, the game against USA and India. If he still continues to bowl half trackers, full tosses, doesn't score runs with the bat, then I would look into bringing Abrar. But I feel like Pakistan has sort of gone too far ahead at this point, where if they drop Shadab and bring in Abrar, and they drop Azam and bring in Imad, what sort of batting depth do you have in the team, right? And also think about if you play 4 pacers, and all of your 4 pacers, none of them can really bat, so to speak, right? The way Shaheen Afridi got out last match, it sort of seemed like a tail-ender dismissal. So I wouldn't trust Shaheen Afridi to score big runs.
Which is funny because there was just ICC promo that just released that said Shaheen Afridi was in it, and the card said Shaheen Afridi bowler. And he got pissed. He was like, I'm an all-rounder. And I'm like, are you? Are you really? Because Naseem came in and consolidated a lot better than you did. And, that was one of their downfalls of the 4th T20I is like, tail just started at 8. And I was like, wait, we have no one else to bat?
This is why if you had someone like Amir Jamal, yes, I know he's not proven himself at this level yet, at the T20 level, but he would have at least given some more batting depth to your batting lineup.
Yeah, and Shaheen actually wants himself to be taken seriously as an all-rounder. He has to show up and give me more runs on the back. Okay, so who do we have next? We have Bilal Asad asking, what kind of tournament do you think Babar Azam will have?
I think Babar Azam has to have a good tournament. There's no question about that. because there's questions around Babar's ability to score in big tournaments, to score against big teams, to score runs for Pakistan in clutch matches. So I think Babar Azam, he's nearing in the age of 30. This is the mature age of a great batsman. So this is the time for Babar Azam to come in and score match-winning, I repeat, match-winning knocks for Pakistan, score big runs, dominate the innings, and make sure Pakistan crosses the line, finish not out. That's what we expect from Babar because he's just he's given us that hope that he's that sort of a batsman. And I think he's shown glimpses over the past few years. But with the World Cup, everyone watching, this is a great opportunity for Babar to again come in and stamp his authority.
The last good World Cup that Babar Azam had, in my opinion, was 2021 World Cup. 22 was a bit shaky. 23 was also a bit shaky. He has a few 50s in there, one against India, but really not really a match-winning or impactful knock in any of those games. Maybe the one with Fakhar against New Zealand. Maybe that's the one that I would say he was looking to. Maybe he would have also gotten a century in that game, but yeah, he needs to come up. He needs to be at 11, and he needs to deliver. So I'm hoping that he has a really good tournament because he needs to. There's no other way to put it. Mustafa Junaid asks, who would win in a super over between Nazar and Bashaar? We'll find out.
That's easy. I'm going to win.
Excuse me?
Because this guy is scared against pace. I'm going to come and I'm going to ball in short deliveries, Yorkers. So my plan is I'm going to expose it on the podcast, but I'm going to ball him a short one.
What the hell is happening?
Short one on his body. He's going to get scared. He's probably going to duck. It might hit him. The next ball is going to be a full straight Yorker, which is going to bolt him. And that would be the end of the super over.
I have nothing to say except that time will tell, and I'll see you in the pitch. That's all I have to say about that. Mustafa Junaid asks, he already asked the question about the super over, and then Dania asks, what is your highest individual score?
I think mine is 61. I scored that indoor cricket when I was playing inter-house cricket for university. I think I broke a record of scoring a 50 in it was an 8-over match. So it was the first ever 50 scored in that tournament's history. I think I hit 8 sixes.
Crazy.
Yeah. So I think it was a 61 off 15 or 20 balls.
I think my highest score is 36. And it was in Karachi in 2012 in the Ian 5 tournament, played inter-school. And I think it was against I forget what team it was against, but I was playing for St. Michael's. I think I went down, and yeah, I remember how I got bowled on a ball that was straight, and I tried to lock sweep it
cross back.
I went across, yeah. So tough. But what shares you see the team I play for, Bashar's the captain of that team. They don't send me higher, bro. Send me at 9 or 10. I can do better than that, but I don't know who to talk to about that.
I cannot let him be a product of nepotism.
All right, really?
He has to come up on his merit.
Well, one of these days we're gonna release the tapes of the share games that we play, and then you'll see the standard that we're playing with. But okay. Moving on. Last question from Instagram. Real Raj asks, who are your dark horses for the tournament? Which is I think a similar question for who the associate teams we have moving forward.
Okay, but this does not say associate, so I can say Afghanistan here.
Sure, go ahead.
And you will not get offended.
I won't get offended.
So my dark horses is Afghanistan because I feel like they have good attacking batsmen on their team, but most importantly, their bowling attack seems very tough to manage. They have Fazal Faruqi who swings the ball up front. They have a great sprint trio with Mujibur Rahman, Rashid Khan, who's the greatest leg spinner, arguably, of T20 cricket. And they have Mohammad Nabi. And they have some good all-rounders like Gulbuddin Naib, Azmatullah Umarzai, and decent death bowler in what's that guy's name? The guy who had a fight with Virat Kohli.
Oh, I forget.
Naveen ul Haq.
There we go. My dark horses is a small team called India. I think they have a young player called Virat Kohli who's doing very well, and a new captain in Rohit Sharma. So I hope I give them the best, and I give them a big thumbs up.
Twitter questions.
This is not gonna be
from Jazzy. Jazzy says, Babar has one down, Fakhar and Saim as openers, and Rizwan at 4. Thoughts? Bad thoughts? Negative thoughts? I think Rizwan at 4 is a complete waste because that's just way too low for him. and it doesn't really suit the style of play he has. I think he's better suited to be as an opener. Number 4 is a better position for someone like a Babar or Fakhar themselves.
Mhm.
If Pakistan loses wickets early on, they can send in Babar instead of Rizwan. If they lose Saim, send in Fakhar, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Jazzy, I know what you're trying to do here. Trying to get more of the explosiveness out in the power play, but I just think that it'll be a bad idea. You might suffer the consequences of that. Because if you think that Bob and Rizwan play slow in the power play when they're like 0 for 0, imagine them being like 10 for 2. It's over. It's just over. So yeah, I wouldn't want that. Moving on. Last question, actually. Ooh, we actually ran through these. Last Twitter question. Again, guys, if you guys want your questions on the pod 100%, then you want to join the Patreon. The Patreon is the best way to get questions. We have questions all episode long. Like, it doesn't just have to be a Q&A episode. Before we do any major podcast, we shoot it on the Patreon. You know, if anybody has any outline questions, we take them on the podcast for the most part. And then all the other stuff, social medias, is like most of like a hit or miss. So yeah. Last question for the day from Sohaib Aslam. Sohaib asked, if Babar steps down again from the captaincy post World Cup, who do you think should be next in line for that position?
Tough question. Well,
Do you think Shaheen takes it back?
Well, do you think Babar steps down? Because last time, Zakash sort of forced him to make that move. He sort of had him at checkmate, and then he had to make that move where he had to step down.
Okay, let's lay out a few scenarios. I'll tell you when Babar steps down. If it's a first round exit, I don't think Babar survives this captaincy, at least for T20.
Well, or Babar can be like, okay, we first round exit, Saim out, Rizwan out, Shadab out, Amir retired, Imad retired, fresh start.
Yeah, but why with Babar then?
Good
Because
question.
Babar represents the past at that point. He should be, like a Virat Kohli, a veteran in the team, and giving 100% of his services, but let somebody else take the reins. I don't think Babar survives that either.
So hypothetically, if Babar does step down or if he's removed,
it has to be from T20s. I think he wants to captain Pakistan in Pakistan for the Champions Trophy.
The sad part here is that the only 2 options we have are the only 2 other guys who are a cemented spot, who have a cemented spot in this Pakistan team, and that is Rizwan and Shaheen. And I would go back and I would bring back Shaheen Afridi. I think fast bowling captains have proven to be great in the past. Pat Cummins is currently the greatest captain in ODIs and tests. So why not give Shaheen that responsibility?
But then you also have like wicket keeping captains who are geniuses, like Dhoni and Sangakkara, so on. Like, why not just try that with Rizwan?
Who was the last fast bowling captain Pakistan had?
That was Wasim, right? 2003?
Waqar.
2004?
Waqar was the captain in the 2003 World Cup.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Waqar was probably the last one. Yeah.
So I mean, 21 years. Let's give it a go.
Yeah, then we gave him a little bit of a stint, and we came 4-0 against New Zealand.
But that was one series. You got to give him some more time.
No, I agree with you. Like, I'm just saying, when you bring it back, that's what the naysayers and the critics are going to say. Like, 4-0 was quite brutal. There's at least a game there that you could have snatched back.
I think whatever happens, it has to be a long-term move. Like, announce the captain for the next 2 years, the next 3 years. So everybody has a clear stance of like, this is my captain. There's no politics happening. There's no lobbying happening. I can't pick sides in the dressing room. It's Shaheen captain. It's Rizwan captain. And we got to back him for the next 2 years. So also the decisions that they can make can be long-term instead of not just for the 1 series, the 2 series. Because you're not going to be gaining any advantages from winning bilaterals. But if you use bilaterals to form a solid team for big tournaments, I think that's what's going to get Pakistan trophies at the end of the day.
And with the expansion of cricket right now, with more associate nations playing in and playing pretty decent, I think you would need someone to step up. And, the same old ways will not succeed in the future as these teams get better and better. So, yeah. I think that's the wrap up for our Q&A. Thank you, everybody, for sending in their questions. If we did not get your questions, again, we apologize. There were so many, like over 100 questions in total across platforms. It's tough for us to whittle it down, but we did get about 20 questions in, which is, I think, a good ratio there. Do follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and wherever you get your podcasts. If you get them audio only, please leave a review on Apple Music and Spotify. It actually helps us a lot more than you think it does. It pushes the algorithm to show our podcast to a lot more people. If you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. What should be the emoji of the day?
Confused emojis.
All right.
Because I think we tried to have the courage to answer these questions to the best of our abilities.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some doubts deep down on Saim, on Azam, on Shadab. And I just have my fingers crossed, my hands in prayers, hoping against hope that these players will magically come back in form, that the pitches in the USA and Caribbean will start suiting them, and that they'll be in the runs for Pakistan and having match-winning performances.
Ameen to that. And we'll see everybody else in the next podcast. Again, like we said, lots of pods coming in, almost one a day. I was shooting one again tomorrow. So, we'll catch you guys on the flip. Thanks.
See ya.